I'm Kelvin Scholler, pianist, arranger, and composer.
So, what does the Ebony Big Band and the program Swing Brother Swing and Swing Sister Swing mean to you?
The Ebony Big Band and the program Swing Brother Swing and Swing Sister Swing, to me, they mean an opportunity to actually honor my forefathers, the people who went before me who were geniuses, and try to make them relevant to today. I'm one of the young musicians that believes that the music of yesterday is not necessarily old-fashioned. It's just as good as today's music, and I'm really glad that we have a forum to actually present it to the audience.
Okay. And what was the most important moment for you during the work for this evening or for these evenings?
The most important moment was, I think, somewhere in between transcribing Jimmy Lunsford and Duke Ellington. I have been listening to Duke Ellington for years, and he's a master musician, but some things about his voicings just really was an enlightening period. For the first program, we did Duke Ellington's Flamingo, and so many things that he did on there I thought was extremely contemporary. I mean, you hear that same kind of movement in Ravel and Debussy, and you can tell that he listened to contemporaries like George Gershwin and other people, but he also interjected this really African-American flavor. That's why I think he's one of the preeminent composers of the Harlem Renaissance, and he really captures the essence of this program. So working with Duke Ellington's music was that for me, but also Jimmy Lunsford. We do a song called Jazznology and Jazznocracy. And it's amazing, the contrast between the different parts. And for me, it was a much learning experience. You know, when Fawzi had first mentioned, oh, we're going to do this program, I said, can I do the arrangements? Right away. He didn't even ask me, I asked him. Because I knew it would be work in a way, but education in another way. Education I would gladly do.
Okay. If you had to choose one musician, a componist of that area, the 30s, who would you choose, composer?
One, Duke Ellington, without a doubt. Because Duke Ellington's breadth of history, I mean, I know one of his first pieces called the Soda Fountain Rag, which he wrote somewhere in the 1900s when he was a kid. And when you hear the evolution from that to his early stride days, is mixing with ragtime and then into the early ensemble days, the Cotton Club stuff, it seems like every 10 years he really changed his approach to ensemble writing, and he always wrote for the same orchestra. So for over that time, he didn't write for alto, trombone, tenor. He wrote for his band members, Harry Carney on the baritone saxophone, Bubba Miley on the trumpet, and Johnny Hodges on the alto sax. So it's very directed, and the only other musician in jazz who I think even has that varied of a career is Miles Davis, but nobody has wrote over 1,000 compositions. Nobody has written for small groups, trio, duo, ensemble, sacred music. He's just really an immense figure, and I don't think just of jazz music or Black American music, but I think of music in general.
If you compare your situation as a musician in Berlin to the situation of jazz musicians in the States, do you see a significant difference in the way you can work on your craft?
Yeah, the difference is I'm not surrounded by my culture. So the music tends to have a quality of otherness and strangeness, exoticism. Whereas in New York or in Detroit, I'm from Detroit, and Detroit is a music city. I mean, we birthed Motown, we birthed a lot of movements in blues, jazz, rock, you name it. Detroit has a strong presence, but I found that when I came here, actually the way it was received, people tend to respond to it in a more exotic way, like, oh, these colors I'm not used to hearing, whereas back home they blend in more with the canvas. It's like looking at a zebra in the savannah. You can't see it because it blends in with the canvas, but if you put it somewhere in a totally dark background, it sticks out completely. And that's kind of the thing that I felt with my particular sound and approach. When I came here, it was actually able to stick out more from the background situation and be more distinctive.
Okay. Is that good or? Is
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
okay. One more question concerning the Ebony Big Band. Again, if you were to choose a song, which song, in your opinion, is the most characteristic for that era? That's
That's a big one because actually we cover from 1933 up until like 1947, so we're talking about 14 years. But if I had to choose one, I think I would choose Jazznocracy by Fletcher Henderson. And the reason I choose that tune is because it really sounds so timeless, And I'm really amazed at the orchestration, the way he has the horns playing off of each other and the harmonic language. I remember when I sat down with Fozzy to listen to it for the first time, and all the other stuff had a certain kind of pattern I can understand. But when he put on this Jazznocracy, the way they were moving around, I thought to myself, man, what exactly are they doing? And so even when I sat down and figured it out, I was like, it looks so simple, but when you hear it, it's amazing. And I think I really learned the most in transcribing it, that song. So I would have to say Fletcher Henderson's Jazznocracy. But, you know, that's not a surprise because at his time period, before even Duke Ellington, Fletcher Henderson was probably the most famous jazz musician for the ensemble work like what we're doing here at the Werkstatt. So the program kind of really captures his sound, and really, I would say that he's one of the pinnacles for me of the stuff that we do. That one song, Jazznocracy, pretty much sums it up for me.
Okay. What does playing with the Ebony Big Band in 2013 at the Werkstatt der Kultur and during Black History Month mean to you?
It means an amazing thing for many reasons. It's nice to go to somewhere, if it's not home, and to still feel like your ancestors and your great people have been respected. And I really felt like from the first moment when we played the concert and we walked in here and the place was completely full and the people would not stop clapping and not stop cheering, and I'm still getting emails about the first concert, and I think I'm going to be getting emails about this for a while. It's just something that's so needed. That's the response that I got from a lot of people. It's like, if only I had this when I was younger. If only this kind of thing has been going on longer, and where could I hear more of this? Because really, in our lifetime, this kind of stuff you only hear on old records. You might see it on a TV program, you might see it in an expensive movie, but to hear this in front of your face like that is really a rare treat, even for myself. And I've played with all kinds of ensembles, all kinds of music all over the world. I study a lot of music, but still, I never did a program like this, with all black musicians playing our ancient traditional music, I guess you can say, from the turn of the century and so on. So to me, it's a super huge honor, and it's my way of paying respects to them, and I do it gladly. So.